Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya. Sim awesome. Naya, thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are doing great. So, I came across a video by a beautiful sister, Alexandra, at Alexandra Rosen, right? Where she was talking about people having conversation of restorative justice, right? So, she talked about how they want to abolish carceral system and also abolishing the general prison in general. And she also gave her opinion on it and also pushed her own experience online for people to understand. Also, by profession, she is a lawyer, which she also stated why she has this kind of opinion. And also, I came across video where Black people are also talking about how everybody wants to depend on Black people, starting from Mexicans, the Asians, the Arabs. Everybody wants something from Black people, but nobody wants to give out anything to Black people. Literally everything that is going on at this point in time was what Black people cautioned everybody. They made it known to them that if you do this, this is what we are going to experience. So for that reason, let's do the right thing to make sure that we get a better result, but everybody said no. Some people are saying the system is broken, the system is broken. But I want you to sit down for a minute and check from the onset of history. Why do you think the system is broken? The system is not broken. The system is actually functioning the way it is meant to function. Let's get into this.
One of the many things that is being made abundantly clear in 2025 is that every other group considers Black Americans to be their punching bag. And what is happening is that while all of these other groups are directing their so called outrage and vitriol and disrespect towards the Black community, white supremacy is tearing you all a collective new one. It's not Black Americans, Hispanic and Latinos that are vanishing you off the street, kidnapping you, detaining you without due process, and deporting you. To the pro Palestine activists and Muslims and Arab Americans, it's not Black Americans that are bombing Gaza into oblivion with plans to make it into a resort where you can buy timeshares if you have enough money. And the indigenous woman that came on here recently and made a video equating Black Americans with settler immigrants, like our ancestors chose to leave Africa and come here and set up shop, like European immigrants did, instead of the human trafficking and chattel slavery that went on for hundreds of years, where we were forced to come here and build what is now the United States of America. It's really ludicrous to me because as you all are on here, I know for clout and views, attacking Black people, because that's the trendy thing to do. White supremacy is brutally letting you all know that no matter your proximity to whiteness, no matter how you might think that you are the model minority, that you are not ever going to have a place in white supremacy. So I think that you all need to direct all of your so called outrage and energy towards attacking the real enemy. Because Black people, we're not going to go out in these streets to be your human shields and to be your cannon fodder and to do the hard work for you like we are mules. We have already told you this, but we're showing you better than we can tell you. So, everybody else who is not us, you best wake up.
When I see the chronically online folks having these conversations about restorative justice and about completely abolishing the carceral system and abolishing prisons in general, I, as a Black woman, just sit here and stare at them in silence, because while it is obviously blatantly, abundantly clear and true that the American carceral system has unjustly targeted and imprisoned and killed Black people by and large, I have to balance my race with my gender, because I have to live among white people and I have to live among men, right? I don't get to choose being either or, being a Black woman. And if men act like the way they do now, knowing that you can at least call 911, knowing that you can at least try to get a PPO against them, knowing that you can leave them and receive some kind of justice or the semblance of some kind of justice, if they act like this now with femicide and sexual assaults and child sexual assault and all that stuff, what exactly do you think they would do to us if they knew that we couldn't even pick up the phone and call 911? And please miss me with the nonsense, the foolishness, the static. Please miss me with there's nuance to it, but please miss me. Don't speak up and speak over the voices of actual DV survivors and intimate partner violence survivors who themselves can testify to the lack of response from the justice system when they needed protection the most. Don't speak over those voices either. And I certainly hope that I am not speaking over those voices myself, but I am saying this to say to those chronically online folks, if it were not for an American justice system, if it were not for a carceral system and a court system and police officers in uniforms with guns on their hips, my mom would not have been able to extricate herself and myself from the thrall of my father's physical violence with her life intact. If it were not for the justice system being there as a stopgap, as some kind of intervention, if there were no courts or no just carceral response to that kind of intimate or interpersonal violence, I wouldn't be here today, and my mom certainly wouldn't be here today either. And please don't get snarky or smart in like the response or the comments like, oh, but there are women who aren't today. There are women who didn't survive. I fucking know that. I have sense. I have a law degree, and I'm also the executive, program director for a nonprofit that provides shelter for women who are escaping intimate partner violence and human trafficking. So I'm speaking from a place of lived personal experience and professional experience. Okay. I don't need your comments to like tell me something that I already fucking know. So don't get smart, okay? Keep it cute. But I'm just saying that we kind of have to balance these conversations, because like I see some folks say things like, oh, well, people commit crime because they don't have opportunity. People commit crime because they don't have resources. And that is true. What is also true is even when it comes to men specifically, men will commit crimes of sexual assault, sex crimes, and crimes of interpersonal violence against women, even when they have resources like housing and money and healthcare and transportation and income and employment and things like that. What I am saying is that these calls for restorative justice and abolishment of the carceral system fail to address what we would do in the case of rapists and pedophiles and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? Like, how would we address those folks? Because when I ask that question, then the answer becomes, well, then we'd have community response to those crimes. And I want to ask you, so the same community that silences domestic violence survivors, the same communities that protect the creepy uncle who is known to be a child molester, the same community that wanted Megan Thee Stallion's head on a spike, that's the community we are going to rely on to bring justice to men who commit sexual or crimes of sexual violence and commit crimes of physical interpersonal violence. That same community is going to bring justice and protection for victims. And I think this is an extremely important point to bring up, especially in our advocacy when we are bringing our points and our statistics and our arguments to our lawmakers and our legislators and to our community organizers and whatnot. And I say this especially to Black women, as a Black woman myself, who has to balance my race being unjustly targeted. Like I have a bullseye on my back by virtue of my race, but we are Black women. We also have bullseyes on our back by virtue of our gender from our own men, right? The men of our race and our ethnicity. And yes, that can be said for all women of all races and ethnicities. I'm Black, so I'm going to speak to Black women's experiences because I am a Black woman. But I think we need to kind of be careful when we're having these conversations about completely abolishing prisons and things like that, completely abolishing jails. You know what I mean? Let's just keep it balanced instead, you know? I think it's better, rather than saying that we should just free willy allocate these necessary resources to just anyone. I honestly think we should focus our efforts, and legislators especially should focus their efforts on allocating those kinds of resources to women, right? Isn't there a proverb that says that when you educate a girl, you educate the nation? Because when women have housing, when women have like barrier-free access to housing, income, healthcare, transportation, education, etc., civilization and societies thrive, right? Because even when women are unhoused and uneducated and unemployed, we are not committing acts of violence, crimes of sexual violence against our fellow human beings, at least at the rates at which men do, even when they have housing, income, healthcare, employment, etc., right? I think our efforts should, rather than focusing solely on abolishing the carceral system as a whole, I think we would be better focused on addressing how the carceral system punishes even victims of domestic violence, women who go and report or try to report cases of rape and sexual assault, adults who were children who experienced being sexually assaulted or molested as children. I think our conversations and our efforts and all of our chronically online takes would lead to a better outcome if that advocacy was reserved specifically for the women victims in this situation. Because again, men have, they're men. They have access to these things. They get these things. They receive support and whatnot, and they still act the way that they do. But somehow women are not the ones in roving gangs of rapists and whatnot. Women are not the ones running these online chat forums, and women are not the ones actually committing these acts of interpersonal violence of a sexual nature and acts of physical violence at the rates at which men are. We had to come up with a term called femicide. Is there a patricide? No, there's a femicide, because we had to come up with a unique term to describe the way women are being targeted, right? So I want us to balance these things. I want you to walk away from this with a nuanced kind of understanding that while, two things can be true at once. What I observe online, especially with those who have good intentions, is that it's like this black and white binary of, well, if the carceral system unjustly has targeted Black American people throughout its entire existence, thus the system must entirely be abolished. And then you have Black women standing up and saying, well, hold on. It's the system that, although may have targeted me based on my race, it's still a system I could call on when I needed protection, assistance, guidance, when I had to go down to friend of the court to file for child support, when I had to negotiate custody. It's not a perfect system. So it absolutely needs to be completely overhauled. I don't even think reform is an adequate enough term. So it's not a perfect system by any means. There are women who are not here with us today because the same system failed to protect them, right? So, we can acknowledge that too. But by the same token, we have a system and we have processes in place that can be drastically improved rather than completely abolished. Because what is the replacement? Community justice, restorative justice? The men committing these crimes have all of those things. They have community and restoration and resources, and they're still doing these things. The same community that doesn't protect those women, those women who are not here with us today, God rest their souls. They're not with us today because they couldn't make it out of their situation alive. Don't you think they went to their communities first before they tried to go to the criminal justice system? And what do their communities do? It's not a black and white. It's, I'm generalizing. I completely understand that. I know there's no room for that on these internet conversations, but I want you to take that away from this space.
What's really bothering me about the court system, and I think everybody feels this way, this man in the Oval Office has empowered law enforcement to grab people, detain them, and they have to either wait long periods of time before they get a court date, an injunction, or they don't get a court date at all. This regime has been talking about suspending habeas corpus, not allowing people to have their day in court, have their day in front of a judge. So whenever he wants to do something against other people, whenever he wants to take advantage of the American public, there's a clear runway for him to do so. The courts don't do anything. But anytime somebody pushes back, anytime somebody brings a case against him, that is when we all of a sudden see these legal hurdles that keep people in limbo. For example, it is very clear the president broke the law and federalized the National Guard, took it away from Governor Newsom. Governor Newsom files a lawsuit, right? It goes to a federal judge. A federal judge says, hey, it is illegal for him to federalize the National Guard. He should not have control of them. But the White House gets to immediately appeal and keep the power, keep the lawless behavior that they started in place. But everything that goes against this man is delayed. It's deferred. It is pushed to the side. It was like this when he wasn't president. When he was on trial for his 34 felony convictions. When he was on trial for stealing classified data from the White House after his presidency was over. When he was on trial for leading and inciting an insurrection against this country. It always seems like the cases never stick. It always seems like the court system really works in his favor and all of these obstacles are in place. But when it's the other way around, we don't see anything slowing him down. That is what bothers people. That is why people are saying we are already in a dictatorship, because the laws don't seem to apply to one individual, but it applies to absolutely everybody else. When people say this is not American, that is what they are talking about. When people say this is not equality, this is not justice, that is what they are talking about. But again, most of the time, MAGA does not care, because what they want to do is win at all costs. The saddest part is most of you don't even really get to enjoy the victory, because all of the rewards go to, remember this, the same people who did not want to vote for a former police officer are now cheering for police officers to go after peaceful protesters. The same people who are cheering for police officers to go after peaceful protesters have nothing to say about the insurrectionists who assaulted police officers in front of the Capitol building. And the same people who have nothing to say about the insurrectionists who assaulted police officers at the Capitol building will ask this president to maintain law and order. And the same people who want him to maintain law and order don't mind that he takes open bribes from the leaders of other countries. There was always a reason for his hardcore followers to get behind what he's doing.
This is all I got from this video, and shout out to all the people I took their videos. And I am going to start with what Mr. Rod said about how every group, everybody, there is nobody that is not expecting something from Black people. And I am going to ask, why is it that you all feel that Black people owe you people anything? Why do Black people owe you anything? Starting from white people to the last of them. Why do you people think Black people owe you? Because this is a question I've been asking myself. I have asked myself this particular question. Why is it that everybody is expecting something from Black people? Because so far you can actually see how white supremacy has really dealt with you all. All of them. Latinos or Hispanics, Asian, all of them. The Arabs, everybody wants something from Black people. Everybody feel Black people are also the ones doing them. I do not understand the mindset, but it is already what it is. Because tell me how you all saw the other person and the other person And you all said it's this person, even after black people telling you people and making you understand the reason why they want you people to go the other side. But you all said no. You all have decided that is how it's take, and that is how it is at this point in time. Upon you made your choice, still black people are being blamed for the choices every other person have made. That shows you how this is not normal. I think it's abnormal for everybody wanting something, but you people are not ready to give out anything. The indigenous people, everybody. They called Black American settlers. I remember I brought that video here. And then I am going to ask, why is it that you all are not holding the people that are real settlers? Now let's talk about the Constitution. If they talk about rewriting the Constitution, or getting rid of the Constitution or something, who will write the new one? Because it is delusional that somebody said we have to get rid of maybe Constitution and all. So who is going to write the Constitution again? The best that can happen is that a constitution may be amended. They might amend a constitution, but in getting it doesn't work that well. You know, I am going to say this for some people who think that this particular regime, or maybe like I remember telling you people that American system is broken, but at the same time, it is not broken. This has always been the way they wanted the Constitution to work. All right? This is it. The truth is that everybody is not focusing, or maybe some people are focusing on the right thing, but majority of people are not focusing on the right thing. Why? Because they left what they are supposed to be focusing on, and they are focusing on black people for giving them a break. How is that even possible? But this is what that is happening. I won't lie to anybody. I am not going to tell anybody to hit anywhere, the street or this thing, to save anybody. Everybody will have to save themselves. So my last saying on this, especially on the beautiful Alex Rose, I hope that, Alex Rose, I love the way she explained this. She said she has lived the life of, she has experienced violence, especially maybe coming from someone close to her, the mother and the father, that it was also the system that saved her. That if not, she actually may not be here to tell the story, but I am very happy that she is here telling the story. And she is also a lawyer. By profession, she is experienced too. I don't take away people's experience, because each time I see her videos, she sounds it that she is a lawyer, and she is very proud of it, right? So by profession also, she has also gained so much experience. So I really love the way she came through with what she talked about, and that's it. So absolutely a very great one. Let me know what you all think in the comment section. Bye for now.